Welcome into hour two. All right, Tim, let's jump into the defensive side of the ball here, man, and kind of see who popped. And it's kind of the same old for the most part. You got a couple names here at the top that really grab your attention. Now, listen, you see this 91.2 from Carl Brooks, and you get really excited, but it's only 8 snaps. So we got to keep that in mind. His pass rush was a 90.4, tackle 66.8, 64.8, run defense grade. So did what he was supposed to do. Anytime it's less than 15 snaps, I got to kind of, all right, Clayton, don't get too excited here, but did everything he was supposed to do. Next, though, it's okay to get excited about this. Katano Ladapo, 39 snaps, 75.8 with a 72.9 coverage grade. We know he could tackle, 75.2, right? But that 72.9 coverage grade, let's go. That's what I'm talking about, Tim. You see kind of the rebound he had here playing safety last week of 58 with a 55.2 coverage grade. And then lo and behold, week 2 at Indy, my man went off 72.9 coverage grade. That's exciting, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you said, we know he's a bruiser, right? He can go in there and lower the boom. Man, if he's going to improve in the coverage aspect of his game, he's going to be a very well-rounded safety and going to be tough to, argue with the fact that, he should be seeing the field a little bit more, I think. And really with the way, this team is kind of coming together, I think this could be that year for him. We might get to see a little bit more KT Oladapo out there on the field. So the coverage grade along with the, 75 tackle grade, previous week he was damn near an 80 on the tackle grade. We'll take that, man, all day. Let's go.
Yeah, completely agree. So KT Oladapo obviously flashing. This is the one I'm most excited about.
Yes.
Tyron Hopper, man. Tyron Hopper, Tim, you got Isaiah Simmons who's struggling, right? He struggled again yesterday. Tyron Hopper, that needs to be your third linebacker. And I know it's only week 2 of the preseason. We just wrapped up week 2 of the preseason, and I was excited about Isaiah Simmons too. I wanted to see what he could do. It kind of feels like he is what we expected him to be. He is what the rest of the league said he was because, guys, we got him in on pretty much a minimum contract. So there's no other teams that said, hey, it's worth throwing him another $100,000 or another $300,000. So, you look at the market, the things, whether it's a player in the NFL, a house on the market, whatever it is, any kind of product, good or service, it's only worth what someone else is willing to pay for it, right? And that's not the dog on him too much, but Tyron Hopper needs to be that third linebacker, man. And when you look at Isaiah McDuffie, maybe he is better equipped, and they definitely see Isaiah McDuffie higher on the depth chart than Tyron Hopper. But him being a third-round pick, man, 74.0 PFF grade, run defense grade is 73.1, tackle grade is 74.9, and a coverage grade of 68.1. And it's not just this week, Tim. He's throwing it together, man. Last week, 88.6. This week, 74.0. Last preseason, guys, he finished with a 50.4. This preseason, 86.0 is current defensive PFF grade. The only thing he has a bad grade on at a 54.3 is his pass rush, and we're not asking Mike backers to listen. They can blitz, and their pressure percentage is typically significantly higher than anyone else who rushes the quarterback because you're kind of catching the offensive line off guard if it's a red dog blitz or if it's something where you're running a twist or a stunt and freeing that guy up. But yeah, I'm very excited about Tyron Hopper, man. It looks like the year 2 leap, Tim. It might just happen here, but
we've been talking about this, right, since the end of last year. Another guy that didn't get a lot of action. This is a perfect time for him to flash like this. I think, I think he certainly passed Isaiah Simmons in the conversation. I think that's official, right? At least at where we're at now at this point in time. We'll see what this week holds, and as we head into week 1 and get to that I believe it's the Tuesday the 26th, we'll find out who this 53 is going to be. I'm willing to bet you Tyron Hopper is a part of it, and you love to see it, man. This is why we drafted him. This is why we were so excited when we picked him up. So it's good to see him making that progress because we know he's a talented linebacker. And like you said, I'm not worried about the pass rush. We're not asking him to do that on a regular basis. Right. I'd rather see how he looks as a touch spy or, some of the other things we ask him to do as a linebacker. And so far, man, even just looking at the grades, you can see the change. What a difference a season makes, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. And Coach Lynn asked a good question. Where do you play Hopper in the base? Hopper, to me, it feels like he's built to be a mock backer. And I know people will hear that and go, wait, whoa, Quay's our Mike, or Edgerrin Cooper needs to be the Mike. We talk about it's very interchangeable in today's game. If Tyron Hopper continues to improve and he shows that he's on par with Quay, okay, and listen, Quay isn't all world. We would all agree with that, right? We don't look at Quay Walker like this dude's a top 10 linebacker. Maybe he will become that this year, right? But if he's on par with Quay, why not have Tyron Hopper at the Mike, let Quay play the wheel, and put Edgerrin Cooper at the Sam, or vice versa, or play the matchup that you're faced with that particular week. That's the other thing too. People, when you see a Sam or you see a Will, and you think, okay, that's their position, you may see it on a chart that someone's playing Will, when in all honesty, they lined him up in the Sam. We run a zone defense. They motion the Y over. He stays on the weak side, and now all of a sudden the Sam flips. That's what we mean by it's very interchangeable. It's not just, okay, you follow the tight end and make sure you're always lining up as the Sam, or you're always lining up as the Mike. The Mike is more stationary than the Will and the Sam in today's NFL, but it's just worth mentioning there. So, again, Isaiah McDuffie might still be the better player, but I don't remember McDuffie playing like this in the preseason last year or any time here recently. I don't know how you feel about that.
I love Zay McDuffie, man. He's like that old reliable shotgun back in the back of the closet, right? Nothing fancy, but man, is it reliable. It never fails. It works. It does what you need it to do. You look at Tyron Hopper, this kid's clearly a dynamic player and has the ability to continue to develop and could be one of these freak linebackers, I think, when it's all said and done. It just makes me feel good about this room, guys.
It does.
We've had such piss poor middle linebacking for so long. It's nice to have a really well-rounded room. And yeah, even though Isaiah Simmons is struggling, we had that conversation, right? He is who he thought he is, Okay. I'm glad we did our due diligence and brought him into the mix and made an effort to add depth. So if he doesn't ultimately make this team, it's not the end of the world, because look at the talent we have in, Zay McDuffie and Tyron Hopper. And then you combine that with Edge Coop and Quay Walker. We've got a really solid linebacker room in the middle, I think.
Yeah, and it is worth mentioning, like what Joseph says here. I think I saw Quay playing in a joint practice team sessions, correct? We're feeling like he is active week 1. I believe so. Tim, do you agree with that? Quay Walker going to be ready to go week 1?
I think so.
Yeah.
I do.
So, if that's the case, here's the other thing. You'll notice Isaiah McDuffie isn't on this list, right? What does that tell you? They view him as a starter. They sat all their starters yesterday. So Isaiah McDuffie, make no mistake about it, he is higher than Tyron Hopper when it comes to this depth chart right now. Yeah. I'm simply pointing out that Tyron Hopper is this close, I think, to taking a big leap. And matter of fact, I think I've got this. Let me delete this out of here real quick.
That's such a great point, Clay. I mean, that's a guy I'm going to be watching on Saturday.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he puts a monster performance together against the Seahawks? I mean, that's gonna be right on time for a guy like him.
And if everything goes as planned, Matt LaFleur, you guys will remember, he originally said he was going to play the starters against Seattle. So we should see a little bit closer to what this starting lineup actually is going to look like, right? So here's one particular play that caught my attention. I won't go full screen with it here, but this is just an idea or just an example here. So you'll notice, where's he playing right here? And it's kind of hard to tell in this copy. We could go chase it down. It looks to me like they're most likely in a 12 personnel. It could be 11, depending on if this is a tight end right here, a hybrid tight end. But nonetheless, he's in the middle of the defense, right? Like you've got a backer. I'm trying to think of who 49. That's an edge rusher.
Alexander. Yeah.
To me, it looks like he's playing Mike right here. Even if it is a nickel right here on the line of scrimmage, he's playing Mike. So watch him here, Tim. You're going to see him fire into the A gap. And I'm going to pause it right here. So he's fire blitzing, right? Now, they're going to toss it outside. So he blitzes the A gap right. And watch the athleticism to get across.
Oh, my goodness.
Bang. Right?
Yep.
That's exciting, bro.
Thank goodness he did what he did, Clay, because Bo missed the hell out of that tackle right there.
Yep. And I love that the fan base loves Bo Melton as much as they do. He's one of my favorite players too, but I've seen people online saying, look at Bo doing a great job forcing him back inside. That's not a good rep.
That was a missed tackle. That was Tyron Hopper forcing him back.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just Yeah, it's just not great technique. I understand he knows he's got help on the inside. I promise you the coaches didn't watch Bo's tape right there and go, great job, Bo.
And Ron in the chat made a great point about Bo too, that, converting from receiver to corner, we see the coverage skills that Bo has, right? We see the hand skills that he has. Obviously, tackling is not going to be a strong suit. Obviously, tackling is going to be something where it's going to be a work in progress with him converting over. I think you don't generally tackle a lot as a wide receiver. So it's going to take him a while. We shouldn't be too hard on him, but I'm with you, Clay. That was not good for him there.
Just want to get a double check here. That I'm getting okay. It is Kalin King. Watch number 34 here too, real quick. So you're going to see 34. I'm going to show you. He's in the slot, so he points something out here, right here. He recognizes, I think, that they're going to be running this toss play because you'll notice him right here, Tim.
Is that Brenton Cox? Did he just tap him right before the snap?
Now watch right here. He's screaming. He knows something's up. Right now, watch him after this play. Look, no hesitation. He knows this is a toss play. He knows they're pulling guys. Watch him get out here, take on a grown ass man.
Yep.
Right. Fight through it, and he sets the edge, forcing him back inside. You know what I mean? Because if he gets washed out inside and allows himself to get blocked here,
oh man,
that running back could go right at the sideline.
And most DBs are going to get blocked into oblivion in a situation like that, going up against a 300-pound tackle.
Yeah. And again, Kalin King, I thought he had a bad day yesterday in coverage, Tim, just based off what I seen. But anytime the ball was around him and there was a ball carrier, that dude is physical and he is attacking the football. It kind of reminds you of how Bullard plays the game. Not as good in coverage, but plays very physical against the run, if that makes sense, or even the yak game. So again, though, that's just one play from Tyron Hopper that I was like, all right, blitz an A gap right, slides out, bounces all the way back to the sideline, makes the tackle. Let's go. He's this is what we're talking about, the tape lining up with the PFF grade. That's what I mean right there, guys. So let's get back to the defensive PFF grades here real quick, Tim. And so Tyron Hopper, kind of stood out. Going down the list here, also Micah Robinson, 69.1. That's great from the 7th round pick. How did he play last week? Is he getting better? Tim, that's pretty solid, bro.
Yes.
65 last week on 35 snaps and then a 69.1 on 25 snaps.
Yeah, Micah Robinson was like this year's Kalin King to me. Last year we were so excited about getting Kalin King there in the 7th round. And we just talked about him and how he's developing. Micah Robinson out of Tulane, we were pretty hype on draft night when we ended up getting him there at the end of the draft. So him flashing now is a great sign. And, he was a little banged up at the beginning of camp. I remember being kind of concerned with how he was kind of hobbling around a little bit. So apparently he's worked through whatever that was because he's looking really good out there now.
Yeah. And if you want to learn more about Micah Robinson and what type of player he is, his background, most of these guys, every rookie that we have on this roster that were drafted, you can go to our Patreon group and just search for their name in there, and you can see the articles that we wrote breaking down, where they played high school at, how many star recruit, where they ranked in recruiting coming out of high school into college, where they transferred to, their college PFF grades, the whole 9 yards, all the way up to us drafting them. You can check that out at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. All right. So again, Micah Robinson, pretty solid. Jamin Dumas Johnson, pretty good day there, 67.0, not bad at all. Showed a good tackling ability with a 71.4. That was on 22 snaps. Kingsley Nabari had a big game last week. This week, 64.7, still decent, right? But last week he just absolutely balled out, 90.1. So Kingsley seems to be playing with his hair on fire here in the preseason pretty well. Christian Welch, 63.5. Last week, Christian Welch, 63.2. Just steady freaking Eddie. I don't think he makes the 53, Tim, but that's a guy you hope like heck, just like you did last year, you hope that you could get him to the practice squad. Man, I feel good about him being that practice squad stack backer we can just pull over on game day if we need him. You know what I'm saying?
I noticed that his coverage grade and tackle grade improved, though, if you pull up week-to-week numbers on him. And that was something that, I had mentioned before. I don't think the issue with Christian Welch is anything other than the fact that it's kind of, this is what you get when he's out there playing linebacker, whether he's at the will or wherever they have him on the field. His strong suit is special teams. Obviously, that's what's going to make him a valuable asset. But when you see a little bit of an increase, he went from a 47 to a 62 on the tackle grade. And, he went up a full, 11 points on the coverage grade. That's progress. You can't ignore it. So I'm with you, man. Hopefully we can keep him around on the practice squad this year.
Yeah, me too, man. Again, he's a player. I really like the way he plays the game. I do. Bo Melton, let's get to the man of the hour. 61.7. Run defense grade 28.7. Tackle grade 27.3. We just seen that on the tape. But that coverage grade, Tim, 73.7, bro. Bo Melton, let's see what he looks like here. Last week, 51.6, and he jumps to a 61.7 this week. Kind of the opposite. Last week, run fit grade, pretty good, 66.2. Tackle grade, Dookie chips, right?
Yep.
Coverage 46.7, and then this week he really upped that coverage grade. If we come out here in preseason week 3 against Seattle, and he comes out and let's say he scores mid 60s, low to mid 60s, and that coverage grade is still hovering around 70, look out. Bo might be a weapon at corner. You just, like I said, you don't want to depend on a former wide receiver helping set the edge at the cornerback position, like you've seen Kalin King do, right? It's kind of the opposite here. So,
yeah, and with run defense grade, right? Like we're not looking at him to be a run stuffing menace, right? We need you to cover. Just don't be terrible in the run fits, and I think that'll come with time. You know, we have to remember this is still new to him, and he's kind of learning as he goes. But that tackle grade's definitely got to improve if we're gonna seriously, consider him as a an effective corner. I think. Feel good about everything else, though. Honestly, I really do. Feel good about the overall defensive grade. Coverage grade is crazy to me in the 70s like that for a guy that's been a cornerback for 15 minutes so far. I'm impressed with that. If he can clean up that tackle grade, it might be really interesting to see what he can do out there for us this year.
Definitely. All right, next on the list, Jared Bartlett. Only 2 snaps of 60. Never mind. Nazir Stackhouse, 33 snaps, but a 59.8. So PFF has not been kind to Nazir Stackhouse so far. 48.7 last week. However, he did climb 11 points to a 59.8. Pretty solid improvement there. And it looks like what he did best, run defense obviously jumps from a 51 to a 58. Pass rush from a 54 to a 59. So you've seen a little bit of incremental improvement there when it comes to our boy Nazir Stackhouse. Keith Randolph Jr., he had a 56.6. Let's go to the bottom here now and see if someone that we expected to play well played bad. Isaiah Simmons, we kind of talked about it, Tim. 28.6, 30.4 run defense grade, tackle grade of 59.6. I think that's his coverage grade is a 32.5. I don't want to pile on too hard here, but when I watch the tape, this is what I'm seeing from Isaiah Simmons. He's late. He's late to the ball. He tries to gather himself up like 5 yards before the ball carrier as opposed to attack through the ball carrier. That's something that sticks out to me. He's an athletic freak. I mean, if he is truly at 6'4", 238, we know he's got blazing speed, athleticism through the roof. Some guys, man, it doesn't click mentally with the game, right? We talk about it with Quay. Quay is a freak. He's an athletic freak. And you look at Edgerrin Cooper. Edgerrin Cooper is just as athletic freaky as Quay Walker is, but Edgerrin Cooper, it just processes so much faster. He's able to kind of make that decision, the start, stop, shoot, get in there and make the play. And Quay is just kind of second-guessing himself a little bit. I see that with Isaiah Simmons. And it's just – I think he's got a long way to go to make this roster, Tim. I really do, man.
I agree. It's a great example. You can have all the athletic attributes and all of the skills in the world, but if you're not processing, it's going to be really hard to make the field. We just talked about this with Caleb Williams. We just talked about this, at quarterback for sure. That's the death spike. You can have a rocket for an arm. If you can't read a defense, you can't play football in the NFL. You just can't. And I think Isaiah Simmons was kind of he kind of got moved around a lot, never really got a groove as far as where he was going to play or what he was going to develop into as whether it's a linebacker or safety or wherever they tried to play him. You get to the point now where you're right. It's kind of just more of the same, Yeah. We talked about most teams in the league felt he wasn't worth a minimum contract. We disagreed. We felt like he was. It was worth bringing him into camp and seeing what we have. But, yeah, we're going into our last preseason game here, and we haven't seen any significant improvement, I guess, would be what I'm getting at.
Yeah. And Omar Brown, he played 20 snaps yesterday, 39.2. Obviously, he's a practice squad candidate once he recovers from that chest injury. You just got to get that guy, make sure there's nothing life-threatening there. My goodness, it's a horrible situation. Kamal Hadden, I had him all over my notes in red, Tim. And PFF agreed a 41.9. His coverage was just, 35 is what they gave him on coverage. So just another player that kind of struggled. I don't want to end it on a negative note, but it's important to kind of talk about how these players may or may not be progressing. Like when you look at Kalin King last week, 78.9. This week, I found myself going, boy, he's blowing coverages like crazy. There were several times he got turned around and was blowing coverages. Had guys running butt naked through the trailer park that he was supposed to be, assigned to. Defensive grade of 48.7. Run defense grade 48.6. Tackle grade 29.1. I felt like he tackled better than anything in his game yesterday, personally. But that coverage grade of 51.5 took a slight step back. So what you're seeing here, guys, is kind of two ships passing in the night here. It's only a second game here, but you got Micah Robinson, right? He's kind of getting better every week, and you got Kalin King just took a step back. And it's really important to try to keep your eye on the tape and say, okay, which one of these guys are going to make the squad? Because I feel comfortable saying, Tim, one of those two cornerbacks are probably going to make the roster. I mean, let's look at it here. You got Keyshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs, right?
Locks.
And let's just go ahead and call Javon Bullard, the slot. So there's three.
Yep.
Bo Melton, let's hold off on that. Correy Ballentine definitely making the roster, right? So there's four corners that you got, okay? Bo Melton, Kalin King, that would make six if they both made it. And now you're getting into that range where you're talking about your Micah Robinsons. So really the question is Micah Robinson going to make this roster over Kalin King? Now, think about it. We put him on the practice squad that voided the rookie contract with resets to a future, so you didn't really lose a year. You've got Micah Robinson on a 4-year deal. And when I talk about that, I'm sure there's a portion of our listeners that go, that doesn't matter. It's a 7th-round pick. You're not worried about if that stays a rookie contract or not. Imagine if you'd done that to Correy Ballentine, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Correy Ballentine's a guy you're glad he's under contract for several more years, as opposed to you cut him loose, you bring him back later, and it's a 1-year deal. That would suck. So I don't know. How do you see that, man? I want to get your take on that. So the question I really talked in a circle right there. Like I said yesterday, I really went around my ass to get to the elbow there. But here's what I'm trying to say. Bo Melton, Kalin King, and Micah Robinson. Probably going to keep two of those three. Who do you think the odd man out is? Bo Melton, Kalin King, or Micah Robinson?
It's tough because we just talked about how great Micah Robinson looked out there. I'm going to say Kalin King. I think Micah Robinson's the odd man out. I think I'd go with Bo and Kalin King.
I think most fans would agree with you too, Tim. I really do.
Well, that's a first. Let's go.
Yeah, and I'm kind of on the opposite side right now. I'm leaning toward Micah Robinson a little bit, but that could change this week. He could come out, have a stinker Kalin King rebound with a significant improvement there from his 48.7 this week, and the tape back it up, and you go, okay, you know what? Yeah, he's the guy. I don't think you'll have too much trouble, I should say, getting Kalin King to the practice squad. We were worried about it last week, but this week really kind of brought it back down to earth. You go off precedent, what happened last year, you had no problem getting him to the practice squad. So that's kind of where I'm at there. And again, that could go either way in either direction. So is there any other players you want to take a look at, or you got a comment on here in terms of who played yesterday? I know we got I was kind of looking at the total snaps there. That's what got me excited. I was like, when you sort by total snaps here, let me get it zoomed in a little bit for you, maybe make it a little bit easier. I apologize. Give me just a second here. Let me get it in. All right. So 52 snaps for Jonathan Baldwin. They got a real good look at him, right? Aaron Mosby, 51. Isaiah Simmons, 49. Warren Brinson, 45. Deslin Alexander, 45. Kalin King, 42. Bo Melton, 42. Kamal Hadden, 40. To me, those are the players that you're looking at. There's probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 of those guys that they're going, let's get a real good look at them, guys, because we're probably going to move on from them and try to put them on the practice squad. They may get picked up. Does that make sense?
It does. It's why I'm looking towards the bottom of the list, and I'm looking at Correy Ballentine. He didn't – what do you have, 15 snaps or something?
That's a great point. 16
there's
snaps.
a corner we haven't really talked about.
Yep.
And, he was brought here for a reason, obviously to help shore up this DB room, right? But I don't see any numbers that are super exciting here. I mean, again, we're just looking at PFF, not overall. But
right,
he played 11 snaps last week, played 16 this week. You know, is he someone they're seriously considering or not? You know what I mean?
It's a great point. Great point. I think it's one of those things that get a little bit banged up, and they want to just get him in there. And hey, he's familiar with the team. He's been in Green Bay before. Little insurance policy. I honestly, at this point, I haven't seen anything this preseason. You guys know I was big on Ballentine last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before they cut him loose, whenever it was, I was like, man, this is a guy that I feel like he's playing pretty darn well. As a matter of fact, if you go back and watch I think it was the New Year's Eve game, if I remember correctly, against Minnesota, he locked Justin Jefferson up. He pass off of while covering him. I think it was in a zone defense, but still he was lined up over JJ a good chunk of the night and played well. I was like, hold up, man, we might have something here. Next thing you know, the Packers cut him loose, and now they're coming back through for an encore here to see if he can make the roster. So
true.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. So there you go. We can take a quick glance at special teams if you'd like, just to see if some of these bottom of the roster guys. God, it breaks my heart every time I see Baron Sorrell's name, and I hope that's a nothing burger, like people were saying him walking around the sideline. I hope that's the case, man. But
yeah,
we were just talking about Michael Robinson, Tim. 72.6 special teams grade.
Yep. Well, Kalin King creeping up behind him too, though.
66, yeah, 66.6. Does it show special teams in here? There we go. Yeah. So yeah, he improved from last week. Kalin King did, right? Yeah.
Yep.
From a 57.7 to a 66.6. And then of course, Micah Robinson, week 1, 60, jumped to a 72.6 this week. So yeah.
These DBs know, man, that's how you make a team.
That's exactly right.
Are grading out well in special teams, man. You'll find your way on a roster.
Yeah, and Christian Welch continuing to do what Christian Welch does, 64.2 special teams grade, had 20 snaps. They know there's a lot of value there for him. Let's see if there's significant snaps with the low grade. The first one that comes to mind is Dumas Johnson. I don't think anybody is convinced he's going to make the roster or maybe even the practice squad, 54.6. Ben Sims, 56.1. He's fairly safe, I think, at the tight end position, whether he's good at special teams or not. Aaron Mosby, 57.7. However, let me say this, though, Tim. If we just carry 3 tight ends,
it's Fitzpatrick. Yeah,
it's going to be Fitzpatrick, I believe. I think he's officially passed Ben Sims up on the depth chart. Aaron Mosby, 57.7. Kamal Haddon, 45.8. So he has not helped himself at all. And, so there you go. That's some of the